Welcome to our news and current affairs section. This is Satish Rai, and as you see, we got a slightly different format to this news segment, where I have joined our newscaster Shalini. And Shalini, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, what do we have today in our current affairs and diaspora news?
We have some news from Fiji and New Zealand, UK, and some sports news from Sydney.
So why don't we start off with the news from Fiji?
2014 budget plans are on its way. Permanent Secretary for Finance, Philimone Wangambada, says preparation for the 2014 budget is on track. He said the distribution of the funds will be in accordance to the country's current economy.
Okay, that's excellent. We'll keep a tab on the budget news as we go along. Let's move on to the next news from Fiji.
The next news is about education. Education Minister Philip Mbole said the most important change in the new constitution is the amendments that has been made in the education field. He said at the Fiji Head Teachers Association opening ceremony that the changes made education a constitutional right for all Fijians and made education a legal responsibility of the state.
That's excellent news, not just for you as a teacher. I think it's very close to your heart,
yes.
And it's also very close to the hearts of many people in Fiji. It's a very important change, and Shalini, as we go along, we'll talk more about that. And I guess we move on to another education news, which is emanating from the diaspora, New Zealand this time.
Yes, good news for Fijians. New Zealand Acting Commissioner Mark Ramsden has offered his government to assist Fiji in the educational sector. Many students can benefit from this move, and thanks to the New Zealand government.
Yes, and this is also very important. I think we'll probably talk a bit more about it as we get to know more about what's actually the New Zealand government going to do in Fiji. And I think after moving from New Zealand, we're going to come back home to Australia.
Yes. Before that, some news on UK visa applications.
Oh, I forgot about that. UK is close to my heart. So please tell us what is happening.
UK visa fees applications will now cost Fijians $260.
And I think that is an increase in visa fees.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that's not so good news for people who want to travel to UK. It's slightly more expensive to travel there, but I hope you keep on going to UK. It's a beautiful country. So now we'll talk about some news in Australia.
Yes, there are plans to normalize relation with Fiji, and that is high on agenda for Australia and New Zealand. And Fiji was high on agenda, as mentioned, this week during talks held by Australia's Foreign Minister Julia Bishop with her New Zealand counterpart Murray McCurley in Auckland. Ms. Bishop says that she wants to get bilateral relation between Fiji back on the track.
That's great news, isn't it? I mean, since last few years, the relationship between Australia, New Zealand and Fiji has gone sour. So this is excellent news. We welcome this news, and we're going to talk a bit more about it as we go along. And now what's next, Shalini?
We have some Sydney sports news.
Oh yes, we have been covering especially the soccer. This is soccer season in Sydney.
Yes.
And last week we informed our audience about the Sanathan soccer tournament, which finished late last Sunday. What's the news? Who won the trophies? First, the all-age group.
The all-age trophy was won by Vatukola, the gold miners.
Oh, so the Vatukola gold miners have struck gold this time, and they have lifted the all-age trophy. And what about the veterans?
The veterans trophy was won by Men in Black, and that's Pa.
Wow. So what happened to Lautoka? Do we know what happened to Lautoka? Obviously did not win any of the tournaments, but I'm a bit disappointed, but I'm happy for the Men in Black, and I'm happy for the Vatukola team. And that's not the end, Shalini. We're going to have another big soccer tournament in Sydney soon.
Yes, and that will be the inter-district tournament that will be held again in Nineveh Stadium in Smithfield Road, and that will be a big tournament.
Excellent. I've been to watch one of the games in BOG at Nineveh Stadium. It's a beautiful stadium. Obviously, I went to see Lautoka play cricket, and unfortunately, Lautoka lost over there. But the stadium is great, and we're poised to have an excellent tournament, IDC tournament in Sydney.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. So, do you have anything else for our viewers, Shalini?
I had the privilege to watch a movie by Raivision, which is called Ria.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. So, come on, tell me. I'm eager to know whether you liked it or how did you respond to it.
It was a very emotional film. There were many things that we could relate with. Basically, it was about what kind of treatment our elders get here in Australia when they leave Fiji and come and live with their families, and how their dreams are shattered, and how everything is contradictory to their expectations.
Yes, and Shalini, when we made this movie, we did after a lot of research, and that the elderly person's life is not just one, it's not an isolated incident. It's based on the cases of hundreds of elderly, the way they have been treated. But the other thing probably you've noticed, we also talked about issues like domestic violence, and also how we relate to the next generation. Obviously, Ria is the granddaughter, so we talk about the three generation and the relationship as well.
But it was very encouraging to see that the third generation, they have a better and wider understanding of the feelings of their elders than the second generation that was seen in the movie. And the second generation is the immediate next generation from the first generation.
We can talk a lot about that, because the reason being the second generation, the people who came over here now 20, 30 years ago, they're so involved in uplifting their economic conditions. They're working day and night, and somewhere along the line they have forgotten the cultural side of it. That has been picked up by the next generation, and this is what Ria is trying to tell.
Now, having said that, I would also say that it does not exist in all families. Some families are very close and they look after their parents and grandparents in a very well manner. But
you're right, but even one case of that, I mean, this we know of a few cases where the elderly have resorted to suicide. But you're right, by and large our families, culturally, we look after our elderly, but we have to also think about the ones who are not looked after.
Yes, definitely. I think this movie is an eye-opener for all children, and it suggests that running after materialistic things in life is not that important. Quality time spent with your parents is more important in life, because as was in the movie, the elderly person wanted to commit suicide, and once, if he would have done that, life would have been lost, and that's one thing you cannot get back, but all other things you can get back.
Very well put. I'm so glad, Shalini, that you loved that movie, and we are developing two other scripts on elderly, and we are hoping that in at least one of them you'll be a part of the cast. And also I request that we got two other films you must watch and we can discuss. One is my friend Anil Mani's film called Neer and Kush, which was made in Bollywood, and so this time Indo-Fijian has gone and made a film in Bollywood, and the reverse is Bollywood has gone to Fiji and made a film called Supermodel. So I can give you both of these films, and next time around we can discuss these two films as well.
Definitely.
And I think we are coming to the end of this presentation, so it's goodbye from me, Satish Rai.
And from me, Shalini Nadan, and the Raivision Film team from Sydney.